Hey friends, welcome to the in-depth tutorial for the song Who You Say I Am. This song we're doing at 87 BPM. You'll want to set your click to be eighth notes or 16ths or whatever's going to match the groove on your right hand. That's the subdivision for your right hand, and it's always easy if your click is matched to that. If you watch all of our tutorial videos, you hear me say this on every single one, but this is your very first one that you've watched. It's always good to set that because whatever your right hand's doing, it kind of locks the rest of your limbs into, and then, you know, if there's a lot, if it was like this, there's a whole lot of room to drift. So let's lock in your right hand with that click. Find that on your tempo app or your Dr. Beat Boss, you know, drum machine or whatever you have. This song is so basic, guys. Everything about it is in the patterns of repetition. That's going to be the thing that sets you apart from the other drummers. If you understand patterns of repetition and how they fit with vocals and how they fit into the thesis of a song. On this song, the pattern of repetition really is a singular kick pattern that goes like this. If you're a brand new drummer, and that's tough to do because that foot to hand independence is a little bit beyond your scope, the easiest way to play the song is like this. Right? So I'm only hitting the rim just so that you can hear the difference between kick and snare, because sometimes the floor tom will muddy it. But that groove, that's your verse, your chorus. Those are all the sections of the song except for the bridge where you build on your toms and snare and kick. So your first verse starts out with your floor tom and that same kick and snare pattern. Your first chorus. Your last chorus. Now, some drummers, they get like a little bored playing the same thing over and over again, but I'm telling you guys, if you're a drummer that can understand patterns of repetition and how to stick with them, you're going to be as good as the guitar player that plays the consistent guitar line. You know, it's always a bummer when you hear a song that you love and it's got a signature part and somebody changes the part and they deviate from the original. Unless it's way better than the original, which is very seldom happening, the best thing to do is just to stick to the patterns of repetition in the song and play them with discipline, and you'll be considered a great drummer even if you have really limited ability and limited chops. If you can just stick to the patterns, you'll land it. There's a couple of nuances that I want to talk about. The first thing happens in the middle of the chorus. At the end of the chorus phrase, before the chorus phrase goes to the next section, there's a guitar line that's like a really U2-esque guitar line. And the thing that happens is the drummer kind of stabs these hits. It's like a bam, bam, ka, dun, dun, da, 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 right? So listen for that in the play along, which comes up next. But I'm just going to show it to you here in the tutorial. So it's like this. I'm going to go from chorus pattern to the hits. Now, a couple things I'm doing that kind of add some subtlety. I go cymbal here, so I spread the stereo field. I'm not just hitting one cymbal all at the same time. So if you're in a church that's large enough to have stereo overhead mics, that's a big deal for your front of house guy. Left cymbal, right cymbal, and then I pop down on my ride cymbal and my snare to create a little bit more, almost like a third cymbal tone that's just a little bit more exciting than going back to one of the other two cymbals. And then when I go to the fill, I do a flam. That's dropping the left stick before the right stick, just slightly. And I go. Breaking it down slow. Right? Flam. It's really subtle. It sounds kind of sloppy when you're playing it slow. But if you play it at speed, it's awesome. If you can practice those subtleties, it really makes a difference. It makes your fills come to life. Now, the last thing about the song that I want to talk about in this tutorial is the retarded ending. What I mean by that, ritardando is like a musical term, an Italian musical term for slowing down and coming to a stop. So to retard the ending, what that basically means is you're going to kind of like slow down your groove just slightly and slow down that fill out just slightly before you do the final crash out of the song. This isn't often used until you're coming to a big climactic ending, right? And this song does that. Now you're going to want to talk to your worship leader, make sure that this is where they want to go, and then you want to watch them for the cue. Like some guys like lift up their headstock, some guys like tap their foot, some guys like give you a mean look like, please stop playing. Just kind of depends on the guy and how well you're watching. So the thing to do is when you're playing, just keep your eyes on your leader. Agree to a signal beforehand where he or she says, all right, I'm going to stop it. For some, if they're just vocalists, they don't actually use their instrument. Instead, they just hold up a clenched fist or they have a hand signal. So watch for that signal, and then you're going to slightly slow down going into the final strikes of the song. So like this. Swell those cymbals at the end, make it dramatic, it super helps. Kind of talk to your worship leader about how slow they want to go, how fast, and work on that, guys. Work on that before the service starts, because that can be a really, really great cinematic and syncopated ending if you're in sync with each other, and if you're not, it can sound like an absolute train wreck, like somebody dropped the ball. So go ahead and jump over to the play along. I'll be walking through this, also the bridge build. Super easy. We do builds like it a lot in worship songs. I think you'll catch on fast. I'll see you at the play along.